Hello everyone. Uh, in the last lecture we have completed our discussion about voltage divider biasing technique for FET amplifiers. Now let us first solve a numerical problem on that particular topic. Let us consider this circuit. Here you need to calculate the first you need to draw the DC load line. Draw DC load line first from here, from the given circuit, and then find the Q point from there. Now in this problem you can see the voltage divider circuit and the VCC is being given. So let us first find this particular voltage. Suppose this is the gate terminal, so this is VG. We just denote this node voltage as VG. So VG should be given by VDD into, if this is R1 and this is R2, R2 by R1 plus R2. Now put the values 30 volt, VDD is 30 into 1 mega ohm divided by 2 plus 1 mega ohm. That means it is 10 volt. So the drain current ID is given by, so VG is my 10 volt. So how much will be ID? ID will be this 10 volt. Now from this circuit you can see that VG is measured between gate terminal and ground, and that is 10 volt. So here in this region there is no resistance, so there will be no drop. So whatever is the voltage across this 1 mega ohm resistance, VG is the voltage across this gate and source terminal. So if we consider that this gate and source terminal, and between this source and between the gate and source terminal there is no drop, so we can say, and no such resistance is connected in this path, so we can say whatever the voltage measured between VG and the ground is the voltage between VS and the ground. This voltage will be same as this one. So ID, that is flown over here through this vertical path into the ground, so ID should be Vs divided by this resistance 2 kilo ohm. If we consider this as Rs, so this is Vs by Rs. That means it is 10 volt divided by 2 into 10 cube, and this is 5 milliampere. And the drain voltage VD, therefore VD is the drain voltage. That is how much? If this is the drain terminal, that corresponding voltage is VD. This is 30 volt minus the drop across this 1 kilo ohm resistance. So VDD, that means 30 volt, minus ID, if we consider this resistance as RD, RD, that means 30 minus 5 milliampere into what is RD, 1 kilo ohm. Okay, so we can find it as 25 volt. So now we are having VD in our hand, therefore drain to source voltage VDS, that means the voltage between drain and source terminal VDS is need to be found. VD is this much, and we can find now VDS, and VS is how much we have find this VS. It is already found as 10 volt because VG is equal to VS actually from the input loop. So therefore VDS, the drain to source voltage, is VD minus VS. VD is 25 and VS is 10, so this is 15 volt. Now, so therefore DC saturation current is given by ID sat. We need to find here, it is how much? 30 volt, that is VDD. First write the formula. It is VDD by the total resistance in the path, that means RD plus RS through which this ID is flowing, and we need to find its saturation value. Now VDD is given by 30 volt divided by what is drain resistance, it is 1 kilo ohm, and what is source resistance, it is 2 kilo ohm. So this is 30 divided by 3 kilo ohm. So that means it is 10 milliampere. Now the cutoff voltage for VDS, so therefore cutoff voltage, because for load line we need 2 points, the two extremities of load line, one is saturation of drain current and cutoff of drain to source voltage. So that cutoff voltage for VDS, denoted by VDS cutoff, that is how much. If you write the equation, the output equation, this VDS is equal to VDD minus ID RD. Now for VDS cutoff, that means ID should be 0, so this term will be vanishing, so VDS will be equal to VDD. Now how much is VDD? VDD is given as 30 volt, so VDS cutoff will be 30 volt. So the Q point will be found accordingly. Now we have the two extremities, this is point A for the load line, and this ID set will be point B for the load line, point B. Now let us draw the load line. In the x-axis it is VDS, in the y-axis it is ID. Now if this is my curve for a particular VGS value, then at one extremity VDS cutoff, which is 30 volt, so this voltage is 30 volt VDS cutoff for one value, one extremity of load line, and the other extremity on the y-axis is ID sat, we have seen, and that value is 10 milliampere. So this is 10 milliampere. Now this is point A and this is point B. Now join these 2 points. So this is what? DC load line. Now Q point for the FET device to be acting as a good amplifier, the Q point should be lying almost at the middle of the load line. Now we can see, if we find the midpoint of this load line, almost the exact midpoint, and find the corresponding voltage and current value. So in the voltage axis, if this is the total 30 volt, so the midpoint will be 15 volt, and if this total is 10 milliampere, this total range of the current, then midpoint is 5 milliampere. So this, if this is considered to be the Q point for the best transistor, for the best FET device amplifying action, so we can say the coordinate for this Q point will be 15 volt, 5 milliampere. So this is the coordinate of this Q point. So in this way we can draw the DC load line and find the Q point for its best position in terms of its amplifying action by this particular FET amplifier that is used, that is connected in potential dividing bias. Okay, so now we are moving on to see another type of biasing technique that is a little that is quite similar to this potential divider biasing technique, but it will be a little more better in sense that it will be providing for improvement in bias stability over and above the normal potential divider bias. So let us see. The name of this technique is drain feedback bias. And first let us draw the circuit for this particular technique, drain feedback bias. You will find that the circuit is quite similar to the circuit we have seen for a normal potential divider bias. This is plus VDD, this is RD, ID is flowing through it. This is an N channel FET, RS is here, and two resistances is connected in this fashion, comprising the potential divider bias. And this portion is grounded. This is R1, this is R2, this voltage is gate voltage VG, and the total voltage between R1 and R2 in series, rather in this fashion, in potential divider connection, we can say it is VD, and the voltage between drain and source terminal is measured as VDS, gate and source terminal as VGS, with the left side as minus and right side as plus. That means negative gate voltage for N channel device, and the source voltage with respect to ground is measured as Vs as usual, and there may be a AC bypass capacitor for increasing the AC voltage gain. Like this. So this is CS. So you can see what is the modification that has been made with a normal potential divider biasing circuit. You can easily understand there is a single modification. Instead of supply voltage being potentially divided by R1 and R2, that means in the normal potential divider circuit, this point is actually connected with this line, that is plus VDD. That means with the help of this potential divider circuit, the VDD is being potentially distributed to be applied at the gate terminal VG. But here the circuit is little bit modified from the normal potential divider bias circuit. Instead of doing that normal connection, the drain voltage VD is potentially divided here to provide the gate bias VG. That means instead of potentially dividing this voltage plus VDD, we have selected drain voltage VD. This is the drain terminal or the drain node, and the corresponding voltage is VD. This VD is measured with respect to ground. This VD is potentially divided by R1 and R2 to provide the gate bias voltage VG. So this is the little modification from the regular potential divider bias circuit, and this arrangement is quite similar to a particular biasing technique of BJTs also, which combine the emitter current bias and collector to base bias. In case of BJT, you have seen this circuit is designed for particular level of VD and ID value. When ID is greater than the design value, there is a larger voltage drop across RD, this resistance, and as a result of that, if there is a voltage drop large across this RD, that means if that is subtracted from this VDD, VD will be decreased. So for a greater RD value, voltage VD will be reduced. The reduction of VD will result in a reduced level of VG. Now if VD is restricted or reduced, that means VG will be restricted or reduced, because from VD, actually by potential divider rule using on it, VG is obtained. So the increased level of ID also increases Vs. That means in other way we can say this ID will make a potential drop across this RS also, and so we can say that this Vs will also increase, because across this Vs will otherwise will be equal to this Vg, and if Vg is increased somewhat, so Vs will be accordingly increased. These two effects of increased Vs and reduced Vg, that means if we reduce Vg in this fashion by selecting a high Rd value and also by selecting a high Rs value at the same time with same Id flowing through it, making the voltage drop across it Vs a high value, that will mean at the same time we are getting two effects: increased Vs is increased but the Vg is reduced. This is happening simultaneously. It will give, these two effects will give a larger gate source reverse bias voltage VGS. Now what is VGS from these two values? We know VGS is equal to Vg minus Vs. Now if Vg is reduced and Vs is gone up, that means VGS will become more and more negative. That means VGS will increase. That means the reverse bias to the gate will be increased. So what it will mean? It will mean it will tend to push the value of drain current ID back towards its design level. That means if somehow ID increases to result this sort of problem, that means to increase the gate reverse bias, it may in turn reduce the increase of ID in the circuit, and thereby the value of ID can be kept inside its design value. So now the design procedure for this circuit is exactly the same for the potential divider bias, so I am not going into that elaborately. It is exactly the same. The one exception is that the voltage across R1 is now Vd minus VR2. Voltage across this R1 is nothing but VR1 is equal to, VR1 is the voltage across R1. This is VR1, which is Vd minus the voltage across R2, which is VR2, if we consider this as VR2. Okay, so now instead of VDD minus VR2, because of the modification we have introduced in the normal potential divider circuit. For circuit analysis, a bias line can be drawn from here, that means the load line as usual, and this requires the equation relating VGS and ID. So if we want to write the equation relating VGS and ID, this VGS should be R2 divided by R1 plus R2, the potential divider rule, into VDD minus IDRD. Okay, VDD minus IDRD means this is VD, so this is the voltage found across this point at this point, that means at the terminal G. Okay, minus IDRS, that means that ID is putting the drop across this RS, so this is IDRS. So how can it be explained? Because VGS we know VG minus VS, and what is VG? VG is nothing but, we have found from applying this potential divider rule at this node on R1, R2 and VD. This is that particular expression. This VDD minus IDRD is nothing but my VD. This is my VD multiplied by this ratio. It will give us VG, and this IDRS is nothing but this ID flowing through RS. Across it the drop is VS, so IDRS is nothing but VS. So this equation will signify VG minus VS, that means VGS. So in this way, in this circuit, by using these rules and application of different laws, we can find the value of VGS, that means the applied input gate bias can be found from here. Now let us discuss about biasing of MOSFETs. We have till now discussed everything considering general FET devices. Rather, we have considered JFETs. Now if something to add with this for discussing about the biasing of MOSFETs, we will now discuss on that matter. But I have already told you in the beginning of this beginning of the discussion about FET biasing that the basic biasing techniques are not that much different for JFET and MOSFET. Now MOSFET bias circuits are quite similar to the circuits used for JFET biasing. I have already told you. In the case of depletion enhancement type of MOSFET, that means the MOSFET in which both the depletion and enhancement mode can be observed, the gate source voltage may be either positive or negative in both N channel and P channel devices you have seen. Any of the JFET bias circuits already discussed till so far I have can be used to give a negative VGS for an N channel device and a positive VGS for a P channel device. You know, to operate an N channel MOSFET in the enhancement mode, either a depletion enhancement device or a purely enhancement type device, the gate must be biased positively with respect to source. You have seen in one of my last lecture when I had discussed with you about the VI characteristics of MOSFET. The self-bias circuit is unsuitable in this case. We have seen and I have also told you, discussed with you during that time. And if fixed voltage bias is to be used, VGS must be kept at a positive value. The same idea can be applied for a P-channel MOSFET operation also. Now let us consider two fixed voltage bias circuits. So in these diagrams you can see that N-channel MOSFETs have been considered, and these are fixed voltage bias circuits, and depletion enhancement type of device have been considered. So VGS may be positive, negative or 0 in this case. In the first figure, in the left figure, the gate terminal is connected to the source via this resistor RG. You can see from over here, and VGS is considered to be 0 here, and the particular bias line I will be drawing shortly on the transfer characteristics. At that value of VGS, I will be drawing a little bit later, and you can find the ID value and its maximum minimum from the intersection points of the bias line and the transfer characteristic, and that diagram should look like this. This is the point ID maximum, and this is also the point for ID maximum value, and the bias line for the circuit first circuit is vertical to this current axis for VGS equal to 0 in this case, and for VGS equal to VG. The second case is VGS is equal to VG when a finite gate voltage has been applied. So it will be little bit shifted because it is VGS equal to 0 and it is positively shifted, so VGS equal to VG will be to the right of this VGS equal to 0. Now the second bias line would be like this. So now for the first circuit, this is the this vertical line is the bias line, and for the second circuit this is the bias line. The transfer characteristic, this is VGS axis plus VGS. Towards this side it is increasing positively, and towards this side it is increasing negatively. Okay, so along this axis ID is shown, and this is the bias line for circuit A. This is the bias line for circuit A. I am not mentioning it about load line because we have considered here transfer characteristics. We have not considered output characteristics or output VI characteristics. So here therefore we are calling it here as a bias line. It is little bit different in idea about from the load line, and this is for the bias line for circuit left side. That means for circuit, suppose it is A and it is B. So this is for circuit A, and this is bias line for B. So from the first bias line for circuit A is giving us 2 points, ID max and ID max, for VGS equal to VG and VGS equal to 0. The intersection of the two for the first circuit of the two bias lines, and the intersection of the transfer characteristics for the second circuit is giving us the two values of ID min. That means one this point ID min and another this point ID min. So these are the range of values for the first circuit. This ID max and ID min, this is the range of value between which for the first circuit the ID value should be designed, and for the second circuit these two will be determining the range of values between which the ID value should be designed. So this is how we can explain, with the help of a depletion enhancement type of n-channel MOSFET, how the biasing circuits may look like, and according to that we can use the fixed voltage bias circuits for biasing MOSFETs. So let us see two more MOSFET biasing circuits. The last one we have discussed is fixed voltage bias circuit, and here, that means this one we have just described about this with the use of our depletion enhancement type of n-channel MOSFET. Now let us consider a n-channel enhancement MOSFET only. No depletion mode is there in this, and this technique or this circuit is drain to gate bias technique used. As you can see that drain terminal, this one is connected through a resistance, and that is the bias resistance directly into the gate. So that's why it is drain to gate bias, and from this drain terminal voltage VD, using this RG, this VG can be derived, and that is the biasing voltage applied between gate and source. Source is directly grounded, and this technique, the right one, is drain to gate bias with a potential divider. This is also a drain to gate bias, but instead of using a single resistor like this one, a potential divider circuit is used, and the same from VD, the voltage VG has been derived across this R2, which is the bias voltage between gate and source, because source is directly connected to ground. So these are two different biasing techniques or circuits that can be used for the operation of n-channel enhancement MOSFET, and these devices must have their gate terminals positive with respect to the source, because they are enhancement type for drain current to flow. The circuit of this circuit and the last one, these two are quite similar in their connections, and once again the bias line must be drawn for these cases for VGS equal to plus VG. So these two circuits will be drained to this fixed voltage bias, the previous circuit, for which we have found this bias line to be at VGS equal to plus VG. Here also it remains the same because of the similarity of the circuits, similarity of their operations or the biasing techniques. Here also it is VGS equal to VG for this drain to gate bias. And in this circuit, the FET that is used, or the MOSFET gate, is connected directly to the drain terminal via this RG. That's why the drain to gate bias name has been given. And VG is then always equal to VD, you can find. And also we can write from here VG is equal to VDD minus IDRD, because IDRD is the drop across this resistance when current ID is flown through them, and that drop subtracted from VDD will give you the voltage at this node, at this drain terminal D. So this drain terminal is nothing but the voltage from which this VG can be derived using this equation. So this equation is used to draw the bias line for this particular circuit, and from there the different points with respect to the DC operating condition can be achieved. And in situation where direct drain to gate connection would make the drain source voltage too low, that means if it happens so that the VDS is very low, the third circuit, that means this one, will be suitable. So this circuit will be suitable for VDS to be of very low value, very low value. Okay, and this is simply a variation of drain to gate bias, and this circuit may be derived from a modification of this second circuit, and but with VD will be potentially divided by R1 and R2. Here VD is directly connected to gate terminal, and from there VG is calculated, but here that VG is found by this or computed by using this R1 R2 potential divider circuit. So this much we all have for FET biasing. We had to we need to discuss. Next we will be discussing about the FET parameters. FET parameters. In field effect transistor family of devices, the drain current ID is a function of gate to source voltage VGS. ID is a function of gate to source voltage VGS and drain to source voltage VDS. We have seen quite a lot, and this functionality is now established in front of us. For small signal applications, that is when the variations in these quantities are small and take place about the Q point, we can express the AC component of drain current ID as the linear sum of AC components of VGS and VDS. All AC components will be denoted in small letters. So when we consider small signal analysis, then we may write ID is equal to GM VGS plus VDS by RD. So this ID is the AC component of drain current, which can be represented by a linear sum of two factors. One is GM VGS and another is VDS by RD, where VGS and VDS all are the AC components of these values VGS and VDS, because they are expressed, and hence they are expressed in small letters. Now we will be this relation can be written for any field effect devices, FET devices, this relation holds true for small signal analysis. And because of that small signal, we have seen in case of BJTs also that the analysis can be confined to the linear region of the characteristics of transistor amplifier. So we can say for small signal analysis only this linear equation, this is out and out a linear equation. So for small signal analysis this equation is valid for FET devices. Now let us see what are these two terms GM and RD. Let us first find what is GS, what is GM. GM from the equation, from the last equation, can be given by ID divided by VGS in small when VDS is equal to 0. So this is the formula or expression for GM. That means in that, if in the last equation if you put VDS equal to 0, then GM could be written as ID by VGS. This parameter GM is called mutual conductance. Mutual conductance or transconductance. It is a very important parameter for the operation of FET devices. Mutual inductance or transconductance, mutual conductance or transconductance. Okay, of the device, because it is the property of the device, and its unit is current by voltage. That means we know voltage by current, it is ohm, so this should be mho. So its unit should be mho, MHO, or it should be written as inverted ohm, or it should be written as ampere per volt. All these can be its unit. It is defined as the ratio of change in drain current to the change in gate to source voltage at constant drain to source voltage. Since VDS equal to 0, that means we can say either we write this VDS equal to 0 for AC component of VDS, and if we consider DC component of VDS, that means this will indicate VDS, capital VDS is a constant value. So when this is constant, the ratio of the two will be called ratio of these two will be called the transconductance or mutual conductance. And this VDS equal to 0 means no AC component present, so in turn it means that capital VDS is constant and it is DC. Now from the same equation, if we put the second term, that VGS equal to 0, that means the AC component of gate to source voltage is 0, we obtain another parameter RD, that is VDS small divided by ID small for VGS equal to 0. The quantity RD which we have found in this way is called AC drain resistance. AC drain resistance or channel or output resistance, or channel or output resistance of the FET device, and its unit is obviously in ohm. So it is defined as the ratio of change in drain to source voltage to the change in drain current. Why the change is being mentioned? Because they are expressed in small letters and they are the AC component of that particular parameters. So therefore it is in the definition the change term or the word change has been kept. So the reciprocal, so the change in so here we can see that RD is ratio of change in VDS and with change in ID when VGS equal to 0 or capital VGS is constant. Okay, so now the reciprocal of RD is designated by GD. So RD is equal to 1 by GD, and GD is called drain. GD is called drain or channel conductance. Drain or channel conductance. there is another parameter in case of FET devices designated by mu, which is called amplification factor of FET, and this parameter is the ratio of change in, the definition of mu is the ratio of change in drain to source voltage, that means VDS, small VDS, to that of gate to source voltage, that is small VGS, keeping the drain current constant, that means capital ID is constant. So this is the definition of amplification factor. So thus we may write mu is equal to minus VDS by VGS, all in small, when ID equal to constant. Now this negative sign is having a significance. It is used since the signs of VDS and VGS in small letters, that means the AC component of VDS and VGS must be opposite. These two voltages must be opposite to keep ID at a constant value, because we know as per the in terms or as per the operation of a particular FET device, that unless this AC component of VDS and VGS are opposite in polarity, ID cannot be, the drain current cannot be made constant. That means the change of drain current cannot be stopped. So we have to use this negative sign to express this mu, this term mu, which is called amplification factor. So from equation, from the first equation we have seen ID equal to GM VGS, the linear representation for any FET device, plus VDS by RD. From this equation we obtain by putting ID equal to 0. If we put ID equal to 0, then we may write by putting small ID equal to 0 in this equation. We may write, if this is put the left hand side is put to 0, then we can write RD GM is equal to minus VDS by VGS for ID equal to 0, or rather we can write minus GM VGS is equal to VDS by RD. So if we find what is RD into GM, that is equal to minus VDS by VGS. And what is minus VDS by VGS? It is mu. It is mu for ID equal to constant, or small ID is equal to 0, whatever. Okay, so from here what is the final relation we obtained? Mu is equal to RD into GM. So put it in a box. This is a very important relation between the FET parameters. Typical value of RD, this RD, AC drain resistance, range from 100 kilo ohm to 1 megohm for a JFET, and for a MOSFET it is 10 kilo ohm to 100 kilo ohm. That means higher than JFET, lower than JFET, this value for MOSFET, and the value of GM may range from 0.1 to 20 milliampere per volt, very small value for any type of FET devices. So from the knowledge of all these parameters, different things, different conclusions can be derived. The transconductance which we have found tells us how effective the gate source voltage is in controlling the drain current. From the expression you can get, it is the ratio of drain current and gate to source voltage. That means if and gate to source voltage is at the expression is Gm equal to Id by Vgs. That means if you apply something at the input which is at the denominator, we should be getting something at the output. If we consider output is the numerator and input is the denominator, so if we apply in terms of AC small signal at the input in terms of Vgs, we should be getting a variation in the output current Id. So this is happening via transconductance. So what transconductance? It is a measure of how effective the gate source voltage is in controlling the drain current. We can say the higher the transconductance value, the more control the gate voltage has over the drain current. So this is a big conclusion for this case. So we may find out the slope of the transconductance curve or from the transfer characteristics, and from there we can get some physical significance about this term Gm. The meaning of Gm in terms of transconductance curve can be obtained from this particular diagram. Between points A and B, a change in Vgs, that means change along the x-axis, produces a change in the y-axis, along the y-axis, that is change in Id. So a change in Id divided by change in Vgs, we know, is nothing but Gm between A and B. So if we select another pair of points further up this curve between C and D, suppose at these 2 points, this is C and this is D, going higher up along this transconductance curve, then we get a bigger change in Id for the same change in Vgs, because Vgs is this much. Here also the Vgs change is this much. For same change in Vgs at the numerator, the change in the at the denominator, the change in the numerator is more for between this CD than in case of AB. So we can say that this AB is having a lesser slope. The slope of the curve is lesser between A and B, but higher between C and D. So slope of the curve is an indicator of the measure of Gm, and that means how much control the Vgs is having on the conduction of current by the FET in terms of Id can be obtained from this transconductance curve. So more the slope of the transconductance curve, more will be the control on the FET by Vgs to get the flow of Id through it. So we can say therefore Gm has larger value as we go on higher up this along this transconductance curve, along higher up the slope, and when going down along this transconductance curve, the Gm value is getting lesser. So we can say that Gm is definitely the slope of this transconductance curve. So what is Gm? Its physical significance is it is the slope of transconductance curve. Transconductance curve. So if we go higher up, the slope is increasing. If we go lower down, the slope is decreasing. That means that Gm is decreasing. Let us now see the AC equivalent circuit for a FET. We consider here the JFET. A very high resistance we know is between gate and source, denoted by RGS, and the drain of the FET acts like a current source with a value Gm VGS, which is equal to Id. We know, because from here we can see that Id is Gm VGS. So Id can be replaced by Gm VGS. Now if we are having the value of Gm and VGS, we can calculate the AC drain current. So the AC equivalent circuit especially for JFET, which should be quite similar to MOSFET as well, it should be like this, look like this. RGS, the resistance between drain and gate and source, and the constant current source between drain and source. So this is source terminal, this is gate terminal, and this is drain terminal. So between gate and source, this RGS is of very high value, very high, and this is current source of having value small id given by GM into VGS. So this is the AC equivalent circuit, and between these two, gate and source, the voltage that is measured is small VGS. So this is AC equivalent circuit for JFET. We can use this circuit for the explanation of MOSFET also. We have seen that for a FET transconductance curve, the endpoints are VGS off, and IDSS. Especially we have seen this for JFET. Now the equation for the relation between these two is ID, the drain current is IDSS into 1 minus VGS by VGS of, we know, whole square. And because of that, the FET is called square law device. I have already told you earlier. Now the quantity VGS off is difficult to measure accurately. On the other hand, one end of the transconductance curve, and also IDSS and a new term called GMO, the other extremity IDSS and a new term GMO are easy to measure with high accuracy. Now we need to see what is this GMO. For this reason, VGS off is often calculated with the following equation, as it is difficult to measure. So we use this equation for calculation of VGS off is equal to minus 2 IDSS divided by GMO. Now in this equation, GMO is the value of transconductance when, that means GMO is actually a value of GM when VGS equal to 0. That means gate is shorted to source, and this GMO is the maximum value of GM for a FET because it occurs for VGS equal to 0. So this GMO is the maximum value of transconductance GM. So now we have understood what is actually GMO, that is utilized over here to calculate this value VGS off, cutoff value of VGS. So when VGS becomes negative, GM decreases. Now if VGS is negative, GM will be decreased because the conductivity of the channel will be decreased, and so we can use the equation for calculation GM for any value of VGS as GM equal to GMO into 1 minus VGS by VGS off. This is the equation. So from here you can see that GM decreases linearly when VGS becomes more negative. If this is negative, that means this is a linear equation, so GM will be decreasing linearly. So if we plot this change between GM and VGS, we can draw a line like this, GM versus VGS. This point is GMO, the maximum value of GM, and this point is VGS cutoff, that is the cutoff value of VGS. So we can see here that as the VGS becomes more and more negative going towards this side, it is becoming more and more negative, the GMO will be coming down, the GM will be coming down from its maximum value GMO towards 0. It will never become 0 actually, but it will decrease. That means the conductivity of the channel will be decreased.